Hi everyone, welcome to Meditation with Annemarie. This is a series on coping with change using your inner power. And everything that I share with you is based on our teachings as Brahma Kumaris. It's something that we practice on a daily basis to help us stay in control of the reins of our own lives. So today I wanted to talk with you about the connection, the currency between some of your inner strengths, your virtues, as a means to help you stay in control of your own responses and to be accountable for your own lives. So I hope you gain some benefit. And remember, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe down below and make any comments or like the comments or share if you feel that someone will benefit from this video. So let's start with the meditation. So taking a breath deep down into your belly, nice and gently, as a means to help you calm your mind and relax your body. And as you're taking those gentle breaths inward, I want you to imagine that you're tuning a radio station. You're trying to find the station with peaceful, powerful, calming music and messages. But if you've been disconnected from yourself for a little while, it takes a bit of practice. So just start by being gentle with yourself. Take any pressure off and just start with your breathing. Just regulate your breathing till you feel like you've slowed down enough to just slow down the traffic in your mind for just a little while. And as you slow down that traffic, I want you to imagine now tuning in. For the younger ones, this may be a little bit more difficult, as you probably need to really use your imagination to tune into an old radio station. But do your best. Imagine there's an old radio with a tuning button, and you're just moving that button left to right, clearing that static. And the static is the noise of your thoughts. That static is the sound of your inner confusion and fear. And so each time you feel that that static becomes more obvious, take a breath and release it. And keep doing that until you start hearing some peaceful sounds or messages coming through. It may be as simple as silence. There may all of a sudden be no static that's taking over that silence. Silence is power. And then just listen to that inner voice who's always trying to give you messages. But we're usually too busy drowning it out with questions and anxiety and fear. So just tune in and find that peaceful background music, that peaceful vibration that you can feel through that radio station, knowing that you are tapping into your own virtues, which create that peaceful vibration. You're not allowing any negative thoughts or emotions to drown out your little bit of peace. For you now recognize that as that static that interferes with your connection with the divine, the source of all energy. So allow yourself that patience. Allow yourself that tolerance to tune in. And when you find that, even for a few moments, that peaceful vibe that you feel in your heart, that you feel in your muscles and joints, just soak it up so you will know what you want to create more of and what you want to let go of. So tune in and just be in that beautiful, melodious, harmonious, gentle, powerful vibration. Sends that music, that calming vibe, filtering through the speakers and entering straight into your heart, converting any negative thoughts, any negative emotions, as you return back to your inner sanctum of peace and power. And know that you can tune in to your own self whenever you need to. But it does take practice. It doesn't happen just overnight. It takes practice to be still and to listen. So give yourself permission regularly throughout your day to stop, to breathe, to tune in. Bringing that peaceful vibration with you, taking a breath and coming back to the here and now. Om Shanti. So welcome back. Let's have a bit of a look at the connection between some of our amazing virtues, that when we apply them and when we are true to them, how it will keep us on a steady path. But the moment we compromise them, the moment we give them away to others as a means to fit in or to please others or to control others, at that point no one wins. So understanding, firstly, let's look at compassion to start with. I'm just going to pick a few random virtues. So compassion, which is something that is very much needed in the world today, but it's very much attached to ego these days because it's all about being seen to be caring for others. That's not compassion. And to start with, when you look at the Latin root of compassion, compati, which means to suffer with. So, unfortunately, as a language, anything that's translated into a different national language, it becomes watered down, it becomes misinterpreted often because of the change in the language. So it gets tainted and we start understanding it from a different viewpoint. So to suffer with doesn't mean to become the rescuer. To suffer with means, the initial meaning of it means to feel the true meaning of empathy, which it doesn't mean that I feel someone's pain and I jump in the quicksand and continue to feel their pain. No, it means that I remain on solid ground and I feel their pain, but I will do what I can to alleviate their pain without compromising my own value, without compromising my own worth and self-care at any level. The moment I compromise my own value as a means to save others, I stop being compassionate. So let's get that really clear. So sometimes it's difficult because it's still seen as a selfish thing. But if we look at first aid, if we look at the rules of when we are flying on an aeroplane, the first rules of first aid is self-preservation. Because I cannot look after anyone if I'm drowning or suffocating. So I must ensure that I wear my own oxygen mask first. I must ensure I have my own life jacket on. I must ensure that I don't step into a dangerous situation because I won't be helping anyone. I will now become part of the problem. And this is where we often get it wrong because we're so busy wanting to help others. We don't understand the true meaning of compati. We don't understand that it means yes, I feel your pain. I will do what I can to alleviate it, but I must remain on solid ground. And so I need to throw a rope. And the only way I can truly do that without guilt, without expectation, without feeling like I'm doing the wrong thing, without feeling like I'm not doing enough, means I now need to step into my own self-respect. And that's not an easy thing if I don't understand my own worth. So self-respect is about understanding my own worth, knowing first and foremost that I am a spiritual being, a being of love and of light. I am a soul. I am a soul who drives this amazing body, this physical vehicle. But I am not this body. I am not the roles that I play. Because if I get caught and only identify my whole worth with the roles that I play, I'm going to either be arrogant and feel superior to others, or I'm going to feel not good enough and feel inferior. And often we will swing between the two. When we are truly coming from our spiritual understanding, our spiritual foundation, then I'm starting to understand self-respect. And that means I will respect myself to remain on solid ground as a means to be compassionate to others. It also teaches me to respect others in the sense that not everyone wants to be saved. Some people want you to jump into the quicksand with you. I've done that many times in the past, and you know what? It doesn't serve anyone. So I need to first truly understand who I am, what I'm worth, and do I live my life according to that worth? Or where do I compromise or sacrifice or give away that power as a means, as I said earlier, to fit in or to please others or to control others or to not cause any waves or to look better than others, to try and put others down. If I'm taking away someone else's right, I'm not being compassionate, and I'm certainly not showing self-respect, and therefore I cannot show respect to others. I must first understand what that self-respect looks like. And that means I keep my oxygen mask on, I keep my life jacket on. The moment I know from many experiences and mistakes, past mistakes, the moment I notice things aren't going as well as they could, I now am aware that I've taken off my life jacket, I've taken off my oxygen mask as a me, I've gone back into the rescuer. So, as I said earlier, I now become part of the problem. I'm not serving anyone. So with those two, with compassion and self-respect, there needs to be an enormous amount of love. And that's self-love, unconditional love, not love with strings attached. So it comes back again to knowing my worth. Because otherwise the love will be based on attachment, which is what we know as Brahma Kumaris as body consciousness, which means I am more aware of the body. I identify with the roles I play, and I see others as the roles that they play, not the soul within the body. And that what I'm seeing is the actions of that soul, but it is not the soul themselves. So that's where the love comes from, that no matter how bad someone behaves, being aware that this soul is probably more lost than you are at that point, not able to reconnect, out of tune, not being able to tune into their own right frequency, because they've blocked this for far too long, the connection here, and they've blocked this connection for far too long. So the more I as an individual turn inward and keep practicing to open this, that's how I start getting help with understanding how to apply my virtues and remain stable within that connection of those virtues. Otherwise, I will get pulled back into my old weaknesses, my old destructive behaviors, my old self-sabotage, or I might sabotage others, or I might try and bring others down because I'm not feeling in control. So it starts with that self-love, unconditional love, because if I'm not filling myself up, there's going to be an empty space. And where there's an empty space, if I'm giving what I perceive to be love from that empty space, I'm going to want a return to fill that up. And that return is going to be attached to all sorts of external biases, all sorts of external unhealed stuff from others. And it gets to the point where I don't know what's my stuff that I need to work on healing, and I don't know what I'm taking on board from other people. So it becomes very messy. So let me just take a step back. Sometimes in order to, I'm sure painters do this, architects do this, anything that you're trying to create, sometimes you need to take a step back to get a better view, a bigger picture view of what's happening and where the changes need to be made. If I don't regularly step back using my power to withdraw, so to become more detached, to step back and to see the bigger picture, if I don't do that on a regular basis, apply the brake, take a breath, take a step back in my mind and just observe what's going on in here, in here, in here, in here, and observe what's going on out there. So then I will be able to respond in a more powerful, compassionate, respectful, loving way, rather than in a destructive, expecting, blaming, maybe even judgmental kind of way. So I need to really keep turning inward. And the more I'm able to turn inward, the more I'm able to be what the true meaning of courageous is. When you look at the word courage, C-O-R comes from the original Latin root of to speak one's mind through one's heart. Something along those lines. To speak one's mind by telling one's heart. And that the C-O-R, core, it means from the heart. So again, can you see how with all the different languages and all the different opinions, even the dictionaries, are subjective as to, depending on what cultural meaning, what conventional moral meanings it has. So it really depends on each individual group. But when we look at courage, it's now more related to bravery and heroics. And unfortunately, we do need to be brave these days in order to speak our mind from our heart, because it's not encouraged, it's actually looked down upon if we do speak our truth. Providing we do it with love, then we are serving the world. If I'm doing it from a hurtful or a pain or a unhealed or an angry or a self-righteous or a judgmental or a blaming viewpoint, then I'm not going to serve anyone, and I'm certainly not going to be able to face, because courage is about facing the truth by speaking my mind from my heart. And when there's genuine love and genuine respect, there's going to be automatic compassion, because I understand compassion starts from home. Charity starts from home, and to me that means home means me within myself. My body is my home. From there it filters out into my physical home, into my relationships and so forth. But it starts within me. I must learn to be kind and unconditionally loving to myself first. And then I'm able to be compassionate without jumping into rescue and without taking the right away from others to learn and grow and experience their own stories. We will be able to remain respectful because we're truly understanding our own worth and the worth of others. We are then able to love unconditionally, which means with an open heart, knowing, having the faith that everything is accurate, even if my heart is going to be hurt in the process. Because I have my tools, I am connected, I have my inner tools, my inner power to help me work through those situations and not take it to heart, to not take it personal. And that's where the power is. So I'm hoping that makes a bit of sense. I just really wanted to tap into just a few of our powers, our inner virtues, and when we apply them, how we don't have to apply one, we need to look at several to bring them together. And if you look at just those four alone, it's, imagine like a table, and those four virtues can be the legs. Imagine if one of those legs was lacking. The table, I'm sure we've all been seated at a table in a restaurant or even at home or on a chair, that one leg is shorter than the other, and we know instantly there is an imbalance, don't we? It's no different with our virtues. When one virtue is weaker than the other, our weaknesses will step in to take over. And if we don't correct it by balancing it out and looking at it and recognizing where that weakness is and propping it up with our other strengths, it's going to get weaker and weaker. And the messages, the pain, the tests will become more and more intense until I stop and listen. So let me not be stubborn, and let me take note and listen, and let me keep moving forward in my life by applying these amazing inner strengths, because we all have them. We all have them. It is up to me as an individual to apply them every day of my life. We don't think twice about getting up in the morning. But we need to now also not think twice about understanding and appreciating our own inner power, and how we can stop being victims in our own story and in the story of the larger picture of the world, and how we can stop being part of the problem by simply turning inward. Often I hear people saying, oh, I feel like I'm not doing enough. The best thing we can do for the world today is to keep turning inward and working on me, strengthening my inner strengths as a means to reduce my human weaknesses. And that is power. So I hope you got some benefits from that, and have a great day, and let's finish off with a meditation. So once again, taking a nice breath deep down into your belly. Allow that oxygen to slip through the lungs, and don't let it stop at the lungs. So don't breathe in your chest or your shoulders. If your chest is moving, if your shoulders are raising, if your neck feels tense or your jaw is clenched, you are breathing into those areas, which is very limiting. So allow yourself to take that breath deeper until as you're breathing in, your belly expands completely. And as you breathe out, your belly contracts. Nothing else moves. And once again, I want you to take yourself into your mind's eye as you become calmer and quieter. And if there are any thoughts or emotions that want to come and disturb your bit of peace, don't fight with them or judge them or question them. Just acknowledge them, watch them come, and watch them leave. Don't invite them by fighting with them. Just watch them come and watch them pass. Each time bringing yourself back to your gentle belly breathing. And then I want you to take one step further. And then once again go into your mind's eye. And I want you to imagine that you are standing at the start of the tiniest little riverbed where there's a tiny, tiny little bit of water running in a creek. And you're at the end of that creek where it's come to a standstill. See the murkiness around. Be aware of the mud and the crusting up around the sides of that tiny creek. Just be aware of it, but don't focus on it. I want you to focus on that tiny bit of water that's still moving. And I want you, in your mind's eye, I want you to trace that water back. Follow it back to where it's flowing a little bit easier. Notice the riverbed starts widening just that tiny bit as the water moves that little bit. Still restricted, but that little bit better. Until you find that river where you can join. Notice the river flowing that little bit faster, a little bit cooler, a little bit clearer. And I want you to trace that river all the way back. Notice there's now several rivers entering this one big main river. As the river becomes deeper, flowing smoother and faster, wider and wider till you come to the confluence of the river and the ocean. And at the confluence, notice it's like a bit of a washing machine. It's a little bit messy as the waves are crashing onto the shore and entering that river. But I want you to stand there and I want you to open yourself up to that ocean. And imagine that ocean is an ocean of light and love and peace and silence and pure joy and bliss. See yourself submerging into that ocean of light, into that ocean of love. Feel that awakening, that calmness washing over you, that reconnection that you feel as you're opening your heart completely to the source of all energy, the ocean of love. Just allow yourself to recharge and fill completely as you're completely submerged in this ocean. And when you're ready, I want you to emerge from that ocean feeling completely full, nothing lacking. In fact, you are overflowing, dripping of love and light and beauty. And those around you are able to benefit from that light shining outward. And you will never feel like you need a return from them because you are already full. So allow yourself many times throughout your day to stop, apply the brake, turn inward, step back like we did earlier and observe. And then take one step further and submerge yourself in that ocean of love and light to recharge and to reset, and then to be able to get on with your day, letting go of that which is already finished, for we cannot change the past. We can only change right now. Om Shanti.